Thom Hartmann here on the news. You need to know this. The Supreme Court has ruled that human genes cannot be patented because they're a product of nature. However, the compromise which was offered allowed synthetic complementary DNA, known as cDNA, to be protected by patent law because it is not naturally occurring. The case, Molecular Pathology versus Myriad Genetics, challenged the biotechnology company's existing patents on two genes associated with the high risk of breast cancer, known as BRCA1 and BRCA2. Cancer researchers argued that the patents prevented other groups from developing more effective and less expensive methods to test for these genetic mutations. Myriad claimed that the patents protected billions of dollars in research and investment. In the ruling, Justice Clarence Thomas wrote, "It is undisputed that Myriad did not create or alter any of the genetic information encoded in the BRCA1 and BRCA2 genes, but in the case of cDNA, a genetic technician unquestionably creates something new." Myriad investors were obviously happy with the compromise as the company's shares jumped 8% after the ruling was issued. Today's Supreme Court decision will open the door to new scientific research and testing methods which could provide breakthroughs in diagnosing and curing breast cancer. It's great to know that much-needed scientific research will continue and that no company has the right to own our DNA. In screwed news, without huge investments in our drinking water systems, millions of Americans will lose access to the clean water we need to survive. According to the Environmental Protection Agency, our nation must invest $384 billion over the next 17 years to protect our drinking water infrastructure. Most of our pipes, water treatment plants, storage tanks, and distribution systems are between 50 and 100 years old, and the risk of contamination increases as more pipes age and systems break down. Despite the risk, Congress has done little to address the problem. According to the Think Progress blog, funding to repair our water infrastructure will fall short by as much as $236 billion by 2019, and that shortfall may be even larger as demand for drinking water grows. The World Health Organization estimates that 1.6 billion people die every year because they lack access to safe drinking water. The majority of waterborne illnesses take place in developing nations, but experts warn that could all start to change if we don't protect our drinking water systems here at home. In the best of the rest of the news, a federal district court judge in Manhattan said corporations can't treat interns like slave labor. This week, Judge William H. Pauley ruled that Fox Searchlight Pictures violated minimum wage laws by failing to pay interns who were essentially regular employees. Judge Pauley agreed with the plaintiffs, Mr. Glatt and Mr. Footman, that they performed the tasks of regular employees and that the internship did not foster an educational environment. The judge said that corporations must follow the Department of Labor criteria laid out for unpaid internships. According to those rules, unpaid interns should not displace the role of a regular employee. Their work must be similar to vocational training given in an educational environment, and the experience must actually benefit the intern. The research firm Intern Bridge estimates that undergrads work in over 1 million internships every year, and half of those positions are unpaid. Corporations all over our nation may have to rethink their internship programs and recognize that they no longer have the right to free labor. Thanks to conservative austerity programs, Greece is no longer considered a developed country. For the first time in the history of the so-called Emerging Market Index, a country has been downgraded from developed to emerging market. Because of strict debt limits and forced spending cuts, the Greek unemployment rate has now topped 25%, and their economy has contracted by nearly 1/5. The austerity measures imposed by the European Union, the IMF, and the European Central Bank have left Greece unable to meet the criteria needed to be considered a developed nation. European leaders are starting to back away from these harsh austerity measures after admitting they misjudged how much destruction these spending cuts would cause. The Greek people are fighting to repair their damaged economy, and the world is watching to see if leaders everywhere will abandon austerity before more nations lose their developed status. The Federal Emergency Management Agency has denied federal aid to the town of West Texas. According to FEMA, the explosion at that fertilizer plant is not of the severity and magnitude that warrants a major disaster declaration. While the agency has provided emergency funds to individual residents, It will not cover the $57 million in needed repairs to roads, sewers, and buildings. And because the plant only carried $1 million of liability insurance, the town is left holding the bag. This is what happens when hazardous chemical plants are underregulated and allowed to be underinsured. Disasters like this leave taxpayers on the hook for the bill. And finally, it seems the scientists have figured out the origin of the term cat burglar. Documentary filmmakers and researchers at the Royal Veterinary College in the UK collaborated on an experiment to find out just what domestic cats do when their owners aren't around. The study tracked 50 cats 24 hours a day using GPS and micro cameras. They said that one of the most common behaviors was nocturnal thieving, like sneaking into a neighbor's house at night to steal food. After conducting the study, one researcher commented on how independent cats are, saying the owners think they own the cats, but in fact, it is the cats who own the owners. As if any cat owner couldn't have told them that years ago. And that's the way it is today, Thursday, June 13th, 2013. I'm Thom Hartmann on the news.